Shalom. Allah started by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone, salutations to the Philet that's pushing this truth across the four corners of earth, our faith, truth, and sincerity. I'm gonna want to buy back in the city. Just been going to about this article I ran into, and also hearing about and seeing videos where it may be on social media, people saying about the so-called UFOs, which are the chariots, of the Lord, and how they saying there's a lot of sightings of them. They are popping up, and you got those that in the military, and so forth, the U.S. military, seeing them popping up more and more, and they are getting very concerned. So so-called white people, Edomites, the ones in power, they are very concerned of seeing that, and it's got their attention a lot more now than usual, because they seeing how they seeing is increasingly seeing more of the so-called UFOs sightings, everywhere at this point, and there are they're getting very afraid and concerned about it. So, but the ones that's in this truth, the apostles and the elders, brother, men starting to teach the word of the Lord. We know the so-called UFOs are the chairs of the Lord. So we know ain't no green little man and gonna come out and with big eyes and stuff that the so-called white man Esau Edomites push on TV and on social media, where it may be on the internet. Those what's in those so-called UFOs chairs are gonna be dark skinned, tall beings, angels, powerful dark skinned, tall skinned angels. And the Lord Yahushua returning, he gonna return in chairs, so-called UFOs. You gonna see him in his power and glory with the angels, with the thousands of heaven, the army. And that's what these so-called white people Edomites are afraid of. Seeing this, But like I said, the apostles and elders, brother, great millstone, had the truth word of the Lord and the spirit of the Lord Yahushua upon them, on them. The apostle, elders, brother, men of the Lord that has the truth of the word of the Lord Yahushua. We are telling you what are those chariots, so-called, what are those so-called UFOs, which are the chariots, and who's in them, who's in them, and when you see them pop, once they show forth their, once Lord Yahushua returns and they show themselves, Lord Yahushua, who y'all call Jesus. When y'all see who y'all call Jesus, which is the name of the Lord, Yahushua in Hebrew, and you see the chariot, and you see the chariots, and then you see the thousands of heavens, the army, and Lord Yahushua is gonna be dark skinned, a lighter dark brown skin tone, a lighter brown. You're gonna see them. That's that they're gonna have a look of a so-called Negro, Latino native, because there was a guy that like I say, it seemed like it was a true interview, that he said that, hey, when I saw who came out of those ships, they was dark skinned, tall, and it looked like African Americans, Negroes. You know what I'm saying? You can say it today, So the tribe of Judah, which today would be the so-called Negroes. So he said it looked like there was tall African American Negroes that came out of those so-called UFOs, chariots, and the ships, as they want to call the ships, so-called UFO chariots, which are the chariots, all right? So And that's what these so-called white Edomites are afraid. So they time is running out, man. Time, they know that that the Lord Yahweh is on his way, and the angels, and they finna bring the Lord Yahweh finna bring wrath and destruction upon Esau Edomites world. Their time is running out, man. Their time is running short. They finna push this. They got the digital ID thing situation going on in the UK, and I heard that it's somewhere in Canada now. It's made its way to a part of Canada. So hey, these so-called white people, Esau Edomites, they know their time is short, and they finna push. They finna by any means get their new world agenda going, and it finna be a lot of people already gonna start protesting and protesting more. Going to the streets, rioting, losing it, because of what's finna come down, like I say, the paper dollar ain't gonna be about shit, you ain't gonna be able to purchase nothing with the paper dollar or the debit card eventually. But like I said, that digital ID is gonna be eventually eventually it's gonna be mandatory as for you to take, which is gonna be a chip, the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. Something that you got to insert in your right hand on your forehead, right? Ain't no other way around it. You gotta have all these people saying this and that. What's the mark of the beast? It's simple. You gotta take the RFID chip that you gotta insert in your right hand on your forehead, as the scripture says. It don't get no plainer than that. Stop making it complicated. It's that simple, right? I just hate when Jake, these other Negroes out here, whatever, teaching wrong doctrine or the wrong understanding about the mark of the beast. And when it's just plain and simple. You gotta take, which is a chip, a RFID chip, a tracking chip that's gonna be inserted to your right hand on your forehead, right? And then you gotta have it. You gotta have that to buy, to sell, to function in society. You have access to your money and so forth. You gotta take it. But the apostles of Elzersburg, the men of the Lord warning you to not to take it, because the word of the Lord say, take it, you're gonna be damned by the Lord Yahweh when you turn, you're gonna be destroyed. But okay, I'm gonna get into this. Aliens may be hiding out in 5 or 6 underwater UFO bases off of U.S. coast. All right. So it says an American congressman has claimed that aliens could be hiding out in 5 or 6 underwater bases off the U.S. coast. Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett said aliens entities were reportedly already living in deep water areas on Earth. Right, that's what he's saying. So they already been here, right? Burchett said whistleblowers have seen underwater crafts traveling hundreds of miles an hour. The claims from the member of the House Oversight Committee that oversees UFO reports caused a massive stir on social media. And now viral video posted social media platform X on September 17th, Burchett suggests that advanced alien beings or civilizations may be hidden under the sea for millennia. So, I'm just gonna go from there to see. Go from there to So it said Burchett added that there have been frequent sightings of unidentified crafts in around 5 or 6 specific deep sea areas. All right. So we have naval personnel telling me that we have sightings of these underwater crafts that they're chasing. The underwater crafts they're chasing are doing hundreds of miles an hour, and the best we got is something that does maybe just a little bit under 40 miles an hour. So that tells you, man, hey, hey, the Chariots, hey, man, so-called UFO, hey, man, hey, the technology is way advanced than what Esau has, and they know that, hey, you can't deal with this. This is something different, you know. Um, let's see. And like I said, the so-called white man, Esau Edomites, they're concerned about this. They know, like, oh man, this is, oh, we don't stand a chance. We go to war. We go to war with these things. We dead. We done for. So they know, hey, we don't stand a chance with what we dealing with. What we gotta deal with, trying to chase it, whatever, trying to see what it's all about, whatever it may be. But they know, hey, like I say, once Lord Yahshua made his return with the chariots, I call you for the angels and the army, the thousands of heaven. They know, hey, they don't stand a chance, man. But let me see. I am finna read it. I'm not finna read all this. I'm trying to get to the point. So it says, so that's, let's see, hold on. So it says, so that's ideal for a submarine, but it's also a place where people have seen many UFOs and many underwater crafts coming into and leaving the water. So they're seeing these so-called UFOs and chariots come in and out of the water. They seen, it pop up and go, it'll pop up and it'll go away quickly. So like, just I ain't finna. There's some more in this article, but yeah, there's some more on this, but let's see. It said, despite the lack of tangible evidence for any of these claims, there has been increasing interest and testimony from credible sources, including military personnel, at these Congress hearings. The statement suggests that UFOs and extraterrestrial entities have visited Earth. So, like I say, they seen these so-called UFO chariots, and they're very concerned how many and increasingly is becoming now. So, but let's go into the scriptures of that. If we go into it now, scriptures talks about this. So it goes Zechariah 5:1. Then I turn and lift up my eyes and look, and behold a flying roll, so-called UFO chariot. Zechariah 5:2. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits. The breadth thereof is 10 cubits. So he's looking at, the width, the size of it, the length, all that. Right? Seeing how big and wide it is, long it is. Zechariah 5:3. Then he said unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stilleth shall be cut off as on this side according to it. And everyone that sweareth shall be cut off on that side according to it. So like I said, the so-called UFOs, the chariots, they are increasingly more, and they seeing what's going on, and what I'm saying, they are analyzing and so forth what the so-called white man Esau Edomites are doing, the wicked devils, what they're doing to the earth and to the, especially to his people, the chosen people of the Lord, and the destruction and the wickedness and all the things that they're doing that the Lord Yahweh hates. They seeing these things, and what I'm saying, they popping up, and they analyzing and seeing what these devils are doing. So if they are increasingly more and more popping up, and like I say, got the so-called white man Esau Edomites are in concern. You got the military people and so forth that's in Congress, whatever it may be, concerned about it, because it's increasingly more and more. The sightings are increasingly more and more. So that tells you, hey, no, it's coming. No, the Lord Yahweh, he's gonna make his return. It's building up. It's coming, building up to it. So, it's the so-called white people, Esau, Edomites, they ain't got too long. Like I said, they time or their rulership is coming to an end. It's dwindling. Zechariah 5:4, I will bring it forth, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and it shall enter to the house of the thief, into the house of him that swear falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. So yeah, so the Lord Yahweh, got the, I said the Chariots, so-called UFOs, I said increasingly within the so-called Edomites. His rulership is, this world, right? They are around. They're coming up out of the water. They're seeing them in the air, and they disappearing, reappearing. They're going too fast for them. They can't catch them. They can't catch up. They and messing with them. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, these Edomites are, they very concerned. They stressed about what they are seeing more and more, and it got them shook, right? But like I said, the apostles and the Elzersburg Raven Stone, the men of the Lord that had his truth of the word of the Lord Yahweh, the spirit upon them, the spirit that's upon the men of the Lord, the apostle Elzersburg Raven Stone, I let you know, hey, what are the UFOs, what are the chariots, and to give you a heads up to know what they really are, and not what the so-called white man Esau might tell you, to get you, in a fright and a fearful mindset of the green little men, a green tall aliens with big old eyes and come up and grab you, whatever they be saying, But nah, they are dark skinned. Like I said earlier, it was a man that did an interview. Say he saw a cigar shaped so-called UFO chariot, and then he saw tall, dark skinned, that looked like African American Negroes come out those chariots. So that showed that right there you could read it. It was an interview. You know what I'm saying? You look it up, you believe it or not. But the Apostle Esberg, we tell you what it is. You know what I'm saying? Who's in those chariots and who's gonna come returning in a chariot so-called UFO? It's gonna be Lord Yahushua, which is a dark skinned tall man. Right? He ain't white. His name ain't Jesus. And those that keep on calling upon the name, the Lord Yahushua, the real name of the Lord, which is Yahushua, he's not gonna acknowledge that. He's like, who the hell is that? I don't know who you calling upon. I don't know no Jesus ain't my name. So gotta have the name, but like I say, it's all about the elect. You can have the name Lord Yahushua, the Lord Yahushua, but you're the elect. You have the Lord Yahushua gonna have mercy upon you. Hopefully, Lord Yahushua have mercy upon. Excuse me. Hopefully, Lord Yahushua have mercy upon me. And like I said, those that believe as well. But like I said, it's all about the elect. All boys about it's all about the elect of the so-called Negro, Latino natives that's gonna be delivered by the Lord Yahushua when he returns in the so-called UFO chariot. But go from there to okay, so I'll go from there to so this is second Ezra 13:1. And it came to pass after 7 days I dreamed a dream by night. Verse 2, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, and it moved all the ways thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. So the Lord Yahushua is going to return in a so-called UFO chariot that people are going to see. It's going to be huge. And people that are going to see it is going to be in trembling of seeing this, because they going to know that that is the Lord Yahushua. That's who y'all call Jesus. They going to know that's him. And he's going to come in all power and glory. You can't deny it. How his power and glory is going to is the presence of the Lord Yahweh is gonna be so. It's gonna be so powerful that, like I say, everybody's gonna see it and feel it. They're gonna see it. See his presence, his power, glory, and people just gonna know. Yeah, that's gotta be him. That gotta be the Lord. And they're gonna see that he's a dark skinned man. He ain't white. And Apostle Ellsberg, Emmett Stone, and there's been, in the Bible, teachings, pictures depicting of the Lord Yahushua. He's a dark skinned man, right? He ain't white, he ain't pale, he ain't red. He's a dark skinned man, right? But I don't get this precept. Goes along with that. It goes with that. It's Revelation 1:7. Behold, he cometh with clouds. And those clouds are the so-called UFO, the chariots. And every eye shall see him. Every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds and of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen, amen. So behold, so everybody's gonna see him, every eye, man, and the ones that pierced him. So the ones that pierced the Lord back 2,000 so years ago when he was here, as a lowly man, he was on the cross, and got pierced by the Romans in the time of the Romans, right? Got pierced by those Roman soldiers, the Roman soldiers that pierced him while he was on the cross. He's here. He's here, and he's gonna see him, and he's gonna know that that's the Lord Yahushua. That's him. So and all the kindreds of the earth, everybody everybody say, "Oh, that's him. That's the Most High. That's him. That's him. That's the one. That's the Lord." They gonna know that's him. Everyone gonna know, right? Ain't gonna be no doubt, But it's gonna be ones that thought the Lord Yahushua, who y'all call Jesus, was white. He ain't white. He's gonna be a dark skinned man, dark, tall skinned man, and youthful looking. You know what I'm saying? And his power and glory. So they gonna know, all right? And they're gonna be like, "Oh shoot," It's gonna be trembling, man. That's how powerful the Lord is coming, man. And like I say, the ones that say, "Hey, I'm ready for the Lord to return," man, you better hope you are a part of that number, the righteous number, the elect of the so-called Negro, Latino natives. That goes for me. Hopefully I'm part of the righteous number, to escape the wrath of judgment, Lord Yahweh, even now going forward, I'm just taking day by day, and I'm just hoping Lord Yahweh have mercy upon me. But, go from there to, so I ain't want to make this too long. I'm trying to get to the point. 2 Ezra 13:4, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth felleth when it filleth the fire. 2 Ezra 13:5, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out the sea. So yeah, they're gonna have, I said, the military army, the space force, those people and so forth don't come and try to, fight the Lord and the angels, fight the Lord Yahushua and the angels, right? 2 Ezra 13:6. 2 Ezra 13:6. 2 Ezra 13:6. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved up himself a great mountain, and flew upon it. Chariot, the so-called UFO chariot. And 2 Ezra 13:7. But I had seen the region of place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. 2 Ezra 13:8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all that which were gathered together to subdue him was so afraid, yet durst fight. So you had a military, space force or whatever, what I'm saying, they seen it, they're like, ooh, man, this is different, kind of as an example, you get like the movie, the movie Independence Day. It's kind of an example of that. How they was looking at, like, they was like, man, this is, I don't know, like, they they ain't want to come and they'll go right at the ship, right, the so-called UFO, the Chariot. So that's kind of like an example of that. That's how it's gonna be with them when they try to fight the Lord angels, in the ship, right, the father ship, that's gonna be, they gonna try to fight, right, they're gonna try to fight. But they will, because Lord Yahushua, Lord Yahushua, he wants to fight, So they gonna have no choice but to, they ain't gonna turn around. They ain't gonna turn their aircraft planes around or their jets, whatever, and say, you know what, nah, we ain't gonna deal with this. you got it, nah. It's gonna be in them to do it, because Lord Yahushua, we wants to fight. But 2 Ezra 13:9, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lift up his hand nor his held sword nor any instrument of war. 2 Ezra 13:10, but only I saw that he sent out his mouth as he had been a blast of fire out of his lips, a flaming breath out of his tongue. He cast out sparks and tempests. So the laser beams come out of the chariots, how the fire, how it come out. You're going to see it come out, and they're going to see that and be like, oh, sheesh, I won't say word, but, they'll be like, oh, man, it's coming out, that fire coming out hot. It's going to be hot, concentrated fire, man, coming out. But on 2 Ezra 13:11, and then they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which were prepared to fight, and burned them up every one. So that upon a Sidon of sudden, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So Ezra had this dream, had a dream vision, you say. He's seeing this, and it. When he woke up, seeing how the Lord Yahushua brought that wrath and destruction upon those that try to fight him, and then I said eventually upon America, Babylon the Great, this wicked kingdom, this world is set up. The system. The Lord Yahushua gonna destroy this place and gonna zap people, gonna get zapped. Example of that is War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. You seen that? Those ships that zapping people. You seen it's gonna be like I said, example of that scene that gonna be judgment coming down upon those that of that righteous number. Those that didn't believe Lord Yahushua, that did not believe in the apostles and Ezra that teach the word the Lord Yahushua, that mock and laugh and scoff, didn't repent, of their ways, or like I said, this is not of their number, not of their righteous number, gonna be destroyed. So only one's gonna have mercy and deliverance from the Lord Yahushua when he returns in the Chariots, so-called UFO, is the elect of the so-called Negro Latino natives, the 144,000 and the 1/3 of the Israelites. There's gonna be, have mercy by the Lord Yahushua when he returns, and bring his wrath and destruction upon America, Babylon Great, and these Edomites, and and he sell out Jakes out here as well. That's sold out. But I won't make this too long. I just won't go into that. So again, I'd like our personal glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem Kakadash, to the apostle elders, to the sis Akim brothers, to the few Akwaf sisters that do listen, keep the faith, and Yahushua keep fighting.